to a special celebrity lookalike edition of The Weakest Link. Any of the 9 doppelgangers in the studio tonight could win up to £50,000 for charity. However, if they want the prize money, they'll have to work as a team. But 8 of them will leave with nothing, as round by round we lose the lookalike voted the weakest link. Let's meet the team.
I'm John Brolly, and I'm a lookalike for Tony Blair.
I'm Pauline Bailey. I'm not booked for my brain, honey, but to impersonate Marilyn Monroe.
I'm Greg Endine, and I'm a Pucker Jamie Oliver lookalike.
I'm Jill Penny, and I spend my days pretending to be posh.
I'm Andy Harmer, and I'm a David Beckham lookalike, and I'm here to prove that I'm not thick.
I'm Jeanette Charles Queen, and I hope you're appreciative of the fact that in this very busy year I've managed to find time to come here today.
I'm Elton John. I take over Ray Johnson, the famous TV star and cab driver.
I'm Barbara Keeley, and I've just flown in from South London, so I can be here to imitate Ms. Joan Collins.
I'm Pete Johnson, and I'd like to ask the audience.
Now, the rules in each round, the aim is to answer enough questions correctly to reach your £5,000 target within the time limit. The fastest way is to create a chain of 9 correct answers. Get your question wrong, and you break the chain and lose all the money in that chain. But if you say the word bank before the question is asked, the money is safe. However, you start a new chain from scratch. Remember, team, at the end of the round, only money that's been banked can be taken forward. The first round lasts for 3 minutes. We'll start with the person whose name is first alphabetically. That's you, Andy. Let's play The Weakest Link. The first question is for £100. Start the clock. Andy, what is the 2-word name for a timepiece that can be set to make a noise at a specified time to wake you up?
Alarm clock.
Correct. Jeanette.
Bank.
In the high street, what name is given to a shop that specialises in selling cut flowers and floral arrangements?
A florist.
Correct. Ray. In football, which word follows corner, goal or free to give 3 different ways of restarting play?
Kick.
Correct, Barbara. In the home, what T is an electrical device with a screen for receiving visual images that are transmitted by radio signals or cable?
Television.
Correct, Pete. In the Bible, Noah built the ark as a precaution against which catastrophic event?
Flood.
Correct.
Bank.
John, in fashion, the letter S, when used to denote clothing size, stands for which word?
Small.
Correct, Pauline. In the animal kingdom, which reptile is well known for being able to change its colour, the chameleon or Komodo dragon?
Chameleon.
Correct. Greg, in maths, what is 11 multiplied by 6?
66.
Correct. Jill, in nature, flutterby is a word used by children to describe which insect?
Butterfly.
Correct, Andy. In April 2002, for the 3rd year running, the winner of the BAFTA TV Award for Best Entertainment Performance was Graham who?
Norton.
Correct.
Bank.
Jeanette, in food, what C is the name for a thin French pancake?
Crepe.
Correct. Ray, in pop music, the Eagles had a 1977 UK hit single with Hotel what?
California.
Correct, Barbara. In modern colloquial language, something that is at the forefront of innovation is said to be at the cutting what?
Edge.
Correct, Pete. In sport, a game of polo is divided into periods called what? Sets or chukkers?
Set.
No, chukkers. John, in the TV sitcom Only Fools and Horses, Del Boy often said, this time next year we'll be what?
Pass.
Millionaires. Pauline, in clothing, dicky bows, bandanas and scarves are all worn around which part of the body?
The neck.
Correct, Greg. In employment, which word follows tea and dinner to give 2 job titles for female workers in the catering industry?
T.
Lady.
Jill, in media, what T is another name for newspapers known as red tops?
Tabloids.
Correct, Andy. Which Olympic sport comprising several events involves plunging from a height headfirst into water?
Triathlon.
Diving.
Jeanette, in gardening, rhododendrons, camellias and azaleas prefer which type of soil, acidic or basic?
Acidic.
Correct, Ray. In geography, in which country of the UK are the districts of Ballymoney and Ballymena?
Northern Ireland.
Correct, Barbara. In pop music, the home of which female singer is popularly known as Buckingham Palace?
Pass.
Victoria Beckham. Pete, in food, which fruit has varieties called Granny Smith, Golden Delicious?
Apple.
Time's up. Apple was the correct answer, but you were well out of time. And in that round, you managed to bank only £2,600, which is a serious tragedy because you actually answered 13 questions correctly in a row. So you could easily have reached your £5,000 target. Whose fault is it that you didn't? It's time to vote off the weakest link.
The first strongest link of the game is Jeanette. Statistically, the weakest link is Pete. But will the votes reflect the facts?
Voting over, it's time to reveal who you think is the weakest link.
Jeanette.
Andy.
Pete.
Barbara.
Pete.
Barbara.
John.
Greg.
John.
We have a tie team. John, Barbara and Pete, 2 votes each. Ray, can you sing?
A little bit.
Okay.
I wanna love, but it's impossible. A man like me was dead in places. Come on, everyone. Of a man who liberated. That's not right.
Jill, can you sing?
No, I can mime very well.
Oh,
though.
well, that's good. Why Barbara?
She didn't know where I lived.
So, Andy, you think if you plunge from a height into water, you're doing the triathlon?
Well, you said several events, so I thought it'd be a multiple event.
There is then, Andy, a possibility that you're even dimmer than David Beckham. Why Pete?
He was one of the only persons that I recognised got a question wrong.
Right, well, when the vote is tied, the strongest link has to cast the deciding vote. The strongest link in the first round was Jeanette. You have a choice. You can either get rid of Barbara, or John or Pete.
John, you will have to go.
No, that's my job.
Oh, I'm sorry. OK.
Did you vote for Tony Blair in the last election?
Certainly not.
So, John, did you vote for Tony Blair?
Do turkeys vote for Christmas?
John, you are the weakest link. Bye.
It's not too bad being voted off in the first round, because I actually changed the Queen's voting intentions. Jeanette said that she didn't vote for me in the last election, but now she has. So her and 2 others, I could be back for a 3rd term. My strategy was not to work very hard on the accuracy of the answers, just on the presentation of the answers, but for some reason that hasn't come off this time. I reckon Barbara's going to go next, because I think she's the weakest link, but it's a mistake. My policy is always to keep the weakest link here.
Round 2, team. So far, you've won £2,600 out of a possible 5,000. You're down to 8 players. We are now taking 10 seconds off your time. We'll start with the strongest link from the last round. That's Jeanette. Let's play the weakest link. Start the clock. Jeanette, in weaponry, what A is the name of the missile usually shot from a bow?
Arrows.
Correct. Ray, in language, the phrase beloved of footballers, which means when all is said and done, is at the end of the what?
Pass.
Day.
Yeah.
Barbara, in religion, someone who is ordained may be described as a man of the what?
Cloth.
Correct. Pete, in biology, which animal usually has the longer gestation period, a cat or a mouse?
Cat.
Correct. Pauline, in history, which form of transport were galleys and galleons?
Ships.
Correct. Greg,
Bank.
in DIY, underlay, gripper strips and threshold bars are used in fitting what?
Carpet.
Correct. Jill, what B is a word meaning an ornamental trinket of little value commonly used for Christmas tree decorations?
Bauble?
Correct, Andy.
Thank.
In pop music, the locomotion, Spinning Around and Can't Get You Out of My Head were UK hit singles from which female singer?
Kylie Minogue.
Correct, Jeanette.
Thank.
In the animal kingdom, the guinea pig is native to which continent, Asia or South America?
Asia.
South America, Ray. Naseem Hamid is a professional in which sport?
Boxing.
Correct, Barbara. In the 2002 film adaptation of the Nick Hornby novel about a boy, which actor plays the lead role of Will Freeman?
Matt Damon.
Hugh Grant.
Oh.
Pete, in employment or the armed services, what V means to put oneself forward for a job or duty without being asked?
Volunteer.
Correct. Pauline, which important crime-fighting tool involves the detailed examination of loops, whirls and arches?
Pass.
Fingerprinting. Greg, in food, the sugary confection known to Americans as cotton candy is called what in the UK?
Candy floss.
Correct, Jill. Viscount David Lindley is a trained designer of what? Furniture or gardens?
Furniture?
Correct, Andy. In geography, Portobello Road Market is located in which city of the UK?
London.
Correct, Jeanette. In travel, what name is given to any long, luxurious car that is often hired by celebrities or for special occasions?
Limousine.
Correct, Ray. In the home, which feature found on the outside of a house is either pushed or pulled by a visitor to summon those inside to the entrance?
Bell.
Correct. Barbara, the word canine means having the characteristics of which animal?
A dog.
Correct, Pete. In entertainment, which actress is married to both Arthur Miller and Joe DiMaggio?
Pass.
Marilyn Monroe. Pauline, in history, the Second World War began in response to the German invasion of which country?
Poland.
Correct, Greg. In food, the name of which precious metal goes before the word paper to give the usual term for the thin metal foil used as a wrapping for chocolate?
Tin.
Silver. Time's up. You banked just £1,700. Who's a fool as well as a fake? Who has the face of a star, but sadly the brain of a goldfish? It's time to vote off the weakest link.
The statistics reveal that Ray is the weakest link. The strongest link is Andy. But who do the team want off?
Voting over, it's time to reveal who you think is the weakest link.
Pete.
Barbara.
Jeanette?
Barbara.
Pete.
Pauline.
Jill.
Greg.
We have another tie team, this time between Barbara and Pete. 2 votes each. Greg, can you cook?
Not very well, like bacon sandwiches, but that's about it.
Ever heard of silver foil?
Yeah, I should have, because I work in a supermarket, so I should have heard of it, shouldn't I?
What do you do at the supermarket?
Just help out customers who think I'm Jamie Oliver. Just, like, help everyone around and show them, like, what the ingredients are for and stuff like that, even though I don't know myself, but...
Hi, Barbara.
I just remember getting a couple of questions wrong.
No, one.
One.
Nobody is asking you anything. Pauline, remind me who you're meant to be.
And I thought I was supposed to be the dumb one, Annie.
What can you do as Marilyn?
That's it, Annie. That's all I have to do.
Right, well, as you know, the strongest link has to cast the deciding vote. And fact is stranger than fiction, so the strongest link in the last round was our David Beckham lookalike, Andy. You voted for Barbara, why?
I noticed in the last round she got a question wrong.
We now have a choice. You can either get rid of Barbara or Pete.
I'll stick with my first choice.
Boney Jody, you are the weakest link. Goodbye.
I would like to see Victoria Beckham voted off next because she was quite angry that I didn't know the name or the makeshift name of her home. Why should I know the name of her home? I'm a far bigger star. Does she know the name of my home?
Round 3, team, and out of a possible £10,000, you have so far achieved the unimpressive amount of 4,300. 7 of you left. Another 10 seconds coming off your time. We'll start with the strongest link from the last round. That's Andy. Let's play the weakest link. Start the clock. Andy, on the internet, what A is the term for a file sent with an email?
Attachment.
Correct. Jeanette, in pop music, which group had UK hit singles in the 1970s with Waterloo and Take a Chance on Me?
ABBA.
Correct, Ray.
Thank you.
Which number precedes the words pack and shooter to give the names of 2 objects of American origin?
Pea shooter.
6. Pete, which garden plant has flowers that grow in rows up tall vertical spikes, the lupin or the cornflower?
Lupin.
Correct. Pauline, in sport, the name of which common substance precedes polo and skiing to give the names of 2 sports?
Water.
Correct, Greg.
Thank.
In geography, the towns of Tideswell and Bakewell are in which English national park?
Hyde Park.
Peak District. Jill, in motoring, what H describes a car in which the entire rear, including the window, is a door that opens upwards?
Hatchback.
Correct, Andy.
Thank.
In entertainment, Richard Burton and Elizabeth Taylor first met and fell in love on the set of which 1963 film?
Pass.
Cleopatra. Jeanette,
Blank.
in education, the initials NUS stand for the National Union of what?
Congress.
Students.
Oh.
Ray, in pop music, which British male singer had a 2002 UK hit single with Freak?
Freak.
Is that your answer?
Pass.
George Michael. Pete, in recycling, which 2-word term is used for a collection point for glass containers?
Wheelie bin.
Bottle bank. Pauline, in architecture, what A is the name given to a room at the top of a house, usually immediately below the roof?
Attic.
Correct, Greg. In the comedy show called Harry Enfield's television programme, which British actress played the character Waynetta Slob?
Pass.
Kathy Burke. Jill,
Bank.
in language, if somebody avoids becoming too friendly with a person, they can be said to be keeping them at arm's what?
Length.
Correct, Andy. In popular culture, Percy Gibson, the 5th husband of Joan Collins, is how many years her junior, 2 or 32?
32.
Correct,
Right.
Jeanette. In theatre, first performed in 1986, who composed the score for the musical The Phantom of the Opera?
Pass.
Andrew Lloyd Webber. Ray, in the animal kingdom, mambas are snakes that kill their prey by which means? Venom or constriction?
Description.
No, venom. Pete, in sport, which piece of women's gymnastic apparatus is 5 metres long and 10 centimetres wide?
Bar.
No, the beam.
Oh, the beam.
Pauline,
Bank.
in UK politics, the leader of the Conservative Party elected in September 2001 is often referred to by which 3 initials? The correct answer is IDS. And in that round, you were absolutely fantastically terrible. You managed to bank just £800, whose imitation is seriously starting to pale. It's time to vote on the weakest link.
As the only player not to give a wrong answer, Jill is the strongest link. Ray remains the weakest link statistically. Can he survive another vote?
Voting over, it's time to reveal who you think is the weakest link.
Jeanette.
Ray.
Jeanette.
Pete.
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 Jeanette.
Yet another tie team. This time between Jeanette and Pete. 3 votes each. Jeanette, do you manage your own money?
Yes.
You do. So why do you keep banking on 0?
I never did get those rules correct, you know.
You're
I never
very
got-
keen on getting rid of Pete.
That question about Marilyn Monroe, I would have thought everybody knew the answer to that.
But that was 2 rounds ago.
Well, even so, I'm well aware it was 2 rounds ago. But I think, too, that this round was not too hot for him either.
Not too hot for you.
No, indeed. I'm absolutely ashamed. I really am. I mean, I usually...
That's enough.
Oh.
So, Pete, can you earn a living being Chris?
Yeah, just about.
What do they pay you to be Chris?
It varies, anywhere between 350, 600, whatever. So,
Oh, I bet Jeanette earns more than that, being the Queen.
probably does. By royal appointment.
Why have you voted for Jeanette?
As you earlier pointed out, banking zero all the time was one of the things that I picked up on, and a wrong question.
The strongest link makes the decision about who goes. The strongest link was Jill. You voted for Jeanette. Why?
She kept banking on... Well, I didn't actually realise it was on 0, but I knew it was quite low, so that's the reason.
You have a choice between Jeanette and Pete.
I think I'm going to have to stick to my original decision, and I'm sorry, but Jeanette.
No red carpet here. Jeanette, you are the weakest link. Goodbye.
I think I got voted off because there are a few Republicans amongst the team and they wanted to make a point. And it's so easy. They can't do it with the real Queen, so they have to make a point of doing it with me.
Round 4, and you have in the kitty £5,100. Another 10 seconds coming off the time. We'll start with the strongest link from the last round. That's Jill. Let's play. The weakest link. Start the clock. Jill, in personal grooming, what S means to remove unwanted hair using a razor?
Shave.
Correct, Andy.
Thanks.
In literature, as a tribute to the national dish, the Scottish writer Robbie Burns wrote the poem addressed to a what?
Haggis.
Correct. Ray, in music, which word follows church, electric and barrel to give the names of 3 instruments?
Pass.
Organ. Pete, the word Yeti, another name for the abominable snowman, comes from which language, German or Tibetan?
Tibetan.
Correct. Pauline, in TV, according to the title of the 1950s TV series, what type of animal was champion?
A horse.
Correct, Greg.
Bank.
On which day each December do swimmers compete for the Peter Pan Cup in Hyde Park in London?
25th.
Correct. Jill, in geography, what is the name of the small uninhabited islands discovered by Captain Cook in 1775, the South Sandwich Islands or North Cake Islands?
South Sandwich.
Correct, Andy.
Bank.
In language, what M means to imitate?
Mime.
No, mimic. Ray, in TV comedy, the fictional character Ali G comes from which UK town?
Slough.
Staines. Pete, which single word means the legal dissolution of a marriage?
Divorce.
Correct. Pauline, on the Welsh flag, what colour is the dragon, green or red?
Red.
Correct, Greg. In an office, the small fund of money kept on hand to pay for minor items is known as the petty wash.
Cash.
Correct, Jill. Which surname links a former footballer called Emlyn, an actress called Neris, and a deceased poet called Ted?
Hughes.
Correct, Andy.
Bank.
In voodoo belief, what Z is the term for an animated corpse said to have been raised from the dead by magic?
Unicorn.
Zombie. Ray, which British comedian had his own TV show in the 1980s featuring the characters C.U. Jimmy and Secret Agent Basildon Bond?
Russ Abbott.
Correct, Pete. In the history of money, in 1572, Spanish colonial mints began striking silver coins known as pieces of what?
8.
Correct. Pauline, in genetics, on average, what proportion of genes does a person share with his or her grandfather, half or quarter?
Quarter.
Correct, Greg.
Bank.
On a golf course, what name is given to the uncut grass on either side of the fairway between... Time's up. Rough was the correct answer, and in that round, you banked £2,200. But who has gone swiftly from clone to clown? It's time to vote off the weakest link.
For the 3rd time in the game, Ray is the weakest link. The strongest link is Greg. But whose game is now over?
Voting over, it's time to reveal who you think is the weakest link.
Andy.
Ray.
Greg.
Pete.
Pete.
Andy.
Another tie, Andy and Pete. 2 votes each. Pete, you're not very popular. You've been voted for in every single round in a tie.
I'm consistent. And I'd like to point I didn't get anything wrong in that round. I was 100% there.
Even more reason to suppose they just don't like you.
Probably is. It could be.
Why, Andy?
Why, Andy? He failed on the obvious one, a zombie. That was the one that I picked up on.
Andy, you think the word unicorn starts with a Z, do you?
No, that's all.
Whose knickers have you got on today?
My own.
Why Pete?
I think consistently through the whole game that he's been the weakest link.
Right, the strongest link in the last round was Greg. Who do you want to get rid of, Andy or Pete?
Pete.
Why?
Because I don't like Who Wants to Be a Millionaire.
Well, interestingly, for the third time statistically, the worst player was Ray. But it's votes that count. Pete has given his final answer. You are the weakest link. Goodbye.
Are you sure? Well, on a decent quiz show, you get lifelines, don't you? 50-50, ask the audience, phone a friend. Nothing like that. I was waiting for them all to turn up. Nothing, and that's why I'm here now. I'd like to see Marilyn go on to win. She's got majority of them right, and it'll dismiss that myth that blondes are dumb, you know. So there you go. That'll put that one to rest.
Round 5. By now you could have won £20,000. In fact, you have in the kitty 7,300. You're down to 5 players. We're taking another 10 seconds off the time. We'll start with the strongest link from the last round. That's Greg. Let's play the weakest link. Start the clock. Greg, in decorating, the petroleum-based liquid used for cleaning brushes is called white what?
Spirit.
Correct. Jill. In music, what T describes the adjustment of the pitch of an instrument?
Tuning.
Correct, Andy.
Bank.
Which pop band starred in the 1964 film A Hard Day's Night?
The Beatles.
Correct, Ray. In photography, a very wide-angle lens covering up to 180 degrees is named after the eye of which animal?
Pass.
Fish. Pauline.
Bank.
What's the name of the bone which footballer David Beckham broke in his left foot in April 2002, raising concerns about his participation in the World Cup?
Pass.
Metatarsal. Greg. In TV, what was the name of the puppet mule that appeared alongside Annette Mills in the 1940s and 50s series for children?
Muffin.
Correct, Jill. In politics, in February 2001, Ariel Sharon was elected Prime Minister of which country?
France.
Israel. Andy. In cookery, what G is the name of the paper used in baking that is impermeable to animal fat or oil?
Greaseproof paper.
Correct, Ray. In sport, what is officially the maximum number of competitors in a game of tennis?
4.
Correct. Pauline. In the United States, the Iran-Contra affair took place under the administration of which American president?
Clinton.
Ronald Reagan. Greg. In art, René Magritte was a leading figure of which movement, Impressionism or Surrealism?
Surrealism.
Correct, Jill. In pop music, which group had UK hit singles in the 1980s with Don't Get Me Wrong and 2,000 Miles?
I haven't got a clue.
No, The Pretenders. Andy. In the royal family, what relation is Prince William to the Earl of Wessex?
Uncle.
Nephew. Ray. In food, which pulse forms the basis of the Middle Eastern dish hummus?
It's rice.
Chickpea. Pauline. In furniture, what P is the name of a large solid cushion used as a seat or footrest?
Buffet.
Correct.
Bang.
Greg. In geography, in which continent is the Kingdom of Swaziland?
Asia.
Africa. Jill. On a compass, which point is 180 degrees round from southeast?
Northwest.
Correct, Andy.
Bang.
In DIY, what name is given to a large metal... Time's up. I can't complete the question. And you bank just £450. Think carefully. Which double should be dumped? It's time to vote off the weakest link.
The statistics show that Greg remains the strongest link. The weakest link in this round is Pauline. But will the votes follow the facts?
Voting over, it's time to reveal who you think is the weakest link.
Ray.
Andy.
Pauline.
Pauline.
Greg.
Jill, what's your best Victoria line?
I don't have a Victoria line because she doesn't really say a lot. So I don't speak when I'm out taking her off. I just look at people and pose.
Okay.
Quite simple.
Let's have a couple of poses.
You only get the one, I'm afraid, which is...
She's just got the one, has she?
Well, you can have that one if you want as well.
Why, Pauline?
Do you know, every single time I voted somebody off, I've had a reason, and this time I haven't, apart from she seemed to be getting them wrong, and I couldn't remember how many other people had got wrong.
Andy, why Pauline?
She's voted for me a couple of times, and I think she had a very good round that round.
Well, statistically, she was the worst player. Pauline, I think you've done Marilyn proud, and I'm sorry, but you are the weakest link. Goodbye.
To get voted off at this stage of the game, I actually feel a little bit relieved. I felt the pressure was really, really getting to me, and I just didn't think I was delivering on the questions very well. I think Annie's lovely.
If you ever want to do lunch, honey, call me.
Round 16. So far, you have in the kitties £7,750. You're down to 4 players. Another 10 seconds coming off the time. We'll start with the strongest link for the last round. That's Greg. Let's play the weakest link. Start the clock. Greg, in politics, before working in Parliament, MPs and peers affirm or swear an oath of allegiance to who?
Queen.
Correct. Jill. In space travel, how many astronauts have set foot on the moon, 12 or 24?
24.
12. Andy. In geography, in which country of the UK is the industrial town of Kilmarnock?
Scotland.
Correct. Ray.
Thanks.
Which word follows corporation, inheritance and value added to give the names of 3 ways of raising revenue?
Tax.
Correct. Greg. In history, the famous Hanging Gardens were built in which ancient city?
Athens.
Babylon. Jill. In language, what D is a German word used in English meaning the double of a living person?
Doppelganger.
Correct. Andy. In film, which American woman won the 2002 Best Actress Oscar for her role in Monsters Ball?
Halle Berry.
Correct. Ray.
Thanks.
What's the Italian word for the number 1?
Uno.
Correct. Greg. In motorcycling, a colloquial name for a crash helmet is a skid what?
Lid.
Correct. Jill. In TV, the travel series first presented by Alan Wicker in 1959 was called Wicker's what?
World.
Correct. Andy.
Bank.
In a gym, an LBT class is one which specifically promises to exercise the parts of the body known as legs, bums and what?
Tums.
Correct. Ray. In TV, a narration or commentary provided by an unseen actor or other performer is known as a whatever.
Voice
No,
over.
I have to accept your first answer. Greg, which controversial British artist created an installation work called Away from the Flock featuring a sheep in formaldehyde?
Damien Hirst.
Correct. Jill. The 1995 film starring Richard Dreyfuss as an engaging music teacher is called Mr. Holland's what?
Haven't got a clue.
Opus. Andy. In DIY, what name is given to the metal joint which attaches a door to a frame and enables the door to open and shut?
Hinge.
Correct. Ray. What's the second most widely spoken language in the USA?
Spanish.
Correct. Greg.
Bank.
Which children's TV series featured the cook Madame Cholet?
Pass.
The Wombles. Jill. In sport, which equestrian? Time's up, and you won £1,000. Who clearly is unfit for the next round. It's time to vote on the weakest link.
Because he was the only player to get all his answers right, Andy is the strongest link. Statistically, the weakest link is Jill. But who will take the walk of shame?
Voting over, it's time to reveal who you think is the weakest link.
Ray.
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 Jill.
Greg. Why Ray? You've voted for him 3 times, of course.
Yeah, I think, you know, like a couple of rounds ago, I know it weren't this round, but a couple of rounds ago, it was like the old Ali G, yeah, come from Slough. But yeah, everyone knows he goes like Steens and all that, do you know what I mean? So that one just stuck in my mind.
Of course, you're going to be left with Victoria and
What
David.
can I do? What can I do? I have to try and cook up an idea or something.
Jill, why Ray?
He was the only one that I noticed that he'd got a question wrong.
Ray, time for the yellow brick road. You are the weakest link. Bye.
When I knew I was going off, I actually felt a bit sad because I was getting stronger, and I don't think I was the weakest link on that round. I think who's going to win today would be Andy, David Beckham, because he's portrayed as being thick as 2 short planks, and I think he's getting stronger as the game goes on.
Round 17, and out of a possible £30,000, you have so far banked 8,750. You're down to 3 players. Another 10 seconds coming off the time. We'll start with the strongest link from the last round. That's Andy. Let's play the weakest link. Start the clock. Andy, in geography, the Falkland Islands are situated in which ocean?
Pacific.
Atlantic. Greg, in April 2002, it was announced that which Scottish comedian was to become the face of the National Lottery?
Billy Connolly.
Correct. Jill, in theatre, the 1955 play by Tennessee Williams is called Cat on a Hot Tin what?
Ruth.
Correct. Andy.
Bank.
Which branch of medicine is specifically concerned with the heart and its functions?
Can you answer that again, please?
Which branch of medicine is specifically concerned with the heart and its functions?
Sorry, I don't know.
Cardiology. Greg, which ceremony takes place at Buckingham Palace every day in the summer at 11:30 in the morning?
Marching of the Guards or something.
Changing of the Guards. Jill, in history, the Great Fire of London occurred in which century?
16th.
17th. Andy, in pop music, which singer had a UK hit single in April 2002 with the song Original Sin?
Pass.
Elton John. Greg, in food, which word can follow brandy, peanut and unsalted to make 3 well-known edible products?
Sour.
Butter. Jill, what's the Welsh name of the political party whose name, when translated into English, means the Party of Wales?
I've got a clue.
Plaid Cymru. Andy, in religion, which Jewish feast celebrates the sparing of the firstborn children of the Israelites on the night before the Exodus from Egypt?
Pass.
Passover. Greg, which word can mean a light used for signalling or the widening out of the bottom of a trouser leg?
Flare.
Correct. Jill, in maths, what is 67 minus 65?
3.
2. Andy, in literature, which 1865 book begins with a central character following a watch-carrying white rabbit through a hole?
Alice in Wonderland.
I'll accept Alice in Wonderland. Time's up and you banked £250. Is there a brain between you? Now, let me tell you that in round 8, you get the chance to treble what you bank. So there is £15,000 to be won in the next round. The question is, who are you going to hang on to? Who are you going to get rid of? It's time to vote on the weakest link.
In this crucial round, Greg is the strongest link statistically because he gave the most correct answers. Andy is now the weakest link. But how will this final vote go?
Voting over, it's time to reveal who you think is the weakest link.
Jill.
Greg.
Greg.
Jill, why Greg?
Well, I couldn't possibly vote my husband off, could I?
Did you think Greg was the weakest link?
No, I think I was, but there again, I can't vote for myself, can I?
Actually, statistically, you weren't the weakest link.
Was I not?
Was she, Andy?
Don't know.
No, you probably wouldn't because you were. Why Greg?
Well,
Did Jill tell you?
No, she didn't tell me, no.
You worked it out for yourself?
Yeah, well, we just worked it out that if Elton's gone, then there's me and Posh left in the final.
Well done. Greg?
Yeah.
Bish bash posh. You are the weakest link. Bye.
Face to face, Anne Robertson, she's mean. You know, that Queen of Mean, that's what she's like. So, I mean, she gives out the punishment, but you got to give it back. You got to take it on the chin because everyone's got to have a good time, have a laugh and that. But then it's all for charity, so it's all great. It's wicked.
Round 8, and out of a possible £35,000, you've banked 9,000. There are 2 of you left, and this time you have 90 seconds. But whatever you win in this round will be trebled. You voted off the strongest link from the last round, so we'll start with the second strongest. That's Jill. Let's play the weakest link. Start the clock. Jill, in history, which US state was part of Mexico until it broke away in 1836?
No idea.
Texas. Andy. In film, which boy's name is also the title of a 1993 comedy in which Kevin Kline plays a lookalike hired to impersonate the US president?
I forgot, sorry.
Dave. Jill, according to the common expression, someone who is not very bright is described as being as what as two short planks?
Thick.
Correct, Andy. Which play by Shakespeare features the line that begins, "Alas, poor Yorick"?
Midsummer Night's Dream?
Hamlet. Jill, in fashion, on which part of the body would someone wear Mary Janes?
No idea.
Feet. Andy, in art, which part of a plant lends its name to the thin sheets of gold used for gilding?
Pass.
Leaf. Jill, in TV, the characters B. Smith, Lizzie Birdsworth and Franklin Doyle were prison inmates in which Australian soap opera?
Prisoner Cell Block H.
Correct, Andy.
Thank.
In motoring, what is the term for a car in which the gears change without the driver having to press a clutch pedal or move a gear stick?
Automatic.
Correct. Jill, in pop music in 2001, which Spanish singer released the album Escape?
Julio, no,
No, I have to accept your
Iglesias.
first answer. Enrique Iglesias is the correct answer. Andy, in publishing, the weekly magazine for doctors known as the BMJ is the British what journal? Time's up. If you're still with us, Andy, the correct answer was medical. Between you in that round, you won £100, which will treble and add to the winnings from the previous rounds. That means prize money tonight of £9,300. But of course, only one of you can take that money away for charity. So now you'll play against each other head to head. I'll ask alternating questions, best of 5. Whoever answers the most correctly wins. It's as simple as that. So Jill and Andy are £9,300. Let's play the weakest link. Jill, as the strongest link in the last round, you have the choice of who goes first.
I think I will, please.
Jill, in entertainment, what specific profession is shared by the fictional characters Lara Croft and Indiana Jones?
Tomb Raider.
No, the correct answer is archaeologist. Andy, in fashion, a type of collar, a short jacket and a cropped hairstyle are all named after which English public school?
Crew.
The correct answer is Eton. Jill, in TV, what word meaning vividly explicit in detail is also a term used to denote any computer-generated visual image?
Digital.
Correct answer is graphic. Andy, in which children's story by Hans Andersen do the people shout at the end, but he has nothing at all on?
Not sure. Sorry, I don't know. Pass.
The correct answer is The Emperor's New Clothes. Jill, which future American president married the daughter of Hugh and Dorothy Rodham in 1975?
George Bush's son.
The correct answer is Bill Clinton. You don't have to play your characters at this point. Andy, in football, which South American team did England beat 4-0 in April 2002 in a World Cup warm-up match?
Brazil?
No, the correct answer is Paraguay.
Oh, no.
Jill, in food, prosciutto is an Italian variety of meat prepared from which animal?
Pig.
Correct. Andy, on a standard UK computer keyboard, the control key is represented by what 4-letter abbreviation?
CTRL.
That is the correct answer. Jill, which 3-word phrase is the name given to a household in which the children live with either their mother or their father, but not both?
Single parent family.
That is the correct answer. Andy, you need to answer this question correctly, or else Jill has won.
Okay.
In politics, what name is given to a signboard often attached to a stick that displays a slogan which is paraded in public, usually at protest marches?
Banner.
No, the correct answer is placard. That means, Jill, you are tonight's strongest link, and you go away with £9,300. What are you going to do with the money?
I'm going to give it to a charity that Victoria and David Beckham both support, which is the Francis House Hospice.
Andy, you leave with nothing. Join us again for The Weakest Link. Goodbye.
I am so shocked. I mean, I was shocked that I didn't get voted off first, but to come this far and win, wow.
It feels really good, actually, to get to the final, and I said I was going to prove that I'm not thick, and we've done it.
Well, we've won this, so what next, babe?
I've got football training.
Yeah. Well, now I've just had a number one, I think I'm going to go and try and have another one.